going to be thinking about the link between emotionally based school avoidance and autism spectrum condition. Anxiety and autism spectrum condition, ASC, tend to go hand in hand. The Department of Education guidance is clear that reasonable adjustments must be made by schools to support any pupils displaying any social, emotional, or mental health issues that is affecting their attendance at school. And this is not only for children and young people who have a diagnosed mental health disorder or a disability or special educational need, or SEN. Children and young people with autism can find school a particularly difficult place to be. It can be much harder to navigate social situations and to manage the peer relationships that become more complex as children and young people get older. So what are the added pressures of the school environment? Some of these pressures might include the lack of complex social skills that come naturally to others, or children and young people may struggle to make and keep friends. Children and young people with autism might have difficulty coping with the curriculum. This could be because they have difficulty processing information and understanding questions in text. They may struggle to cope with the demands of a school timetable because they have difficulty organising and prioritising tasks. They may experience sensory differences, which can make it hard to tolerate some aspects of the school environment, like noises, smells, and lighting. Children and young people with autism might strive for perfection in their work and see anything less as a failure. They may get into trouble with teachers for unintentionally being rude, inappropriate, or for not respecting authority. They may take things literally, which might mean that they misunderstand a teacher's instructions or aren't able to join in with classroom jokes. They may find transitions difficult, like moving between classrooms or changing teachers. They may find that unstructured time, like breaks and lunchtime, cause anxiety at school. And they may struggle with anxiety and find it hard to be apart from family or away from familiar routines of home. Most schools have learned through training and advice to support children and young people with autism better, but all children and young people are different. It's important to remember that a young person does not need a diagnosis in order to be able to have an individualised approach to help support them with any difficulties relating to attending school. The waiting times for an assessment can be long, so schools need to make adaptations based on children and young people's needs rather than any diagnosis. Your child or young person may display different behaviours at home than they do at school. They may bottle up their emotions until the end of the school day and release them when they're at home, where they feel fully loved and accepted. It's important to consider gender issues. For example, autism may present differently in girls than in boys. Being aware of the challenges and therefore being able to preempt them can be really helpful. Being especially aware that children and young people may mask their difficulties and find being able to verbalise their worries difficult. Sharing any strategies with teachers is important, as well as regular communication about any difficulties the child or young person may be having or any concerns that you as a parent and carer have. Children and young people with autism can find school very overwhelming. So here are some of the strategies that you might find helpful. Creating a sensory safe place at home. This might include placing comfortable cushions, favourite toys, visuals, oil timers, fidget toys, heavy weighted blankets, favourite photos, smells, or other sensory calming toys in this space. Encourage him or her to have a retreat time before or after school so that your child or young person can feel grounded and self-calm. Set aside specific times to talk about school. Try not to talk about it outside of these times, but note down worries and questions to be sure that they are all addressed before they go back. When answering any questions, try to keep to the facts. Find out from their school about any changes they may find and explain to your child or young person as simply as possible, using visual information and social stories if possible. Emphasize to your child or young person the things that are staying the same. It will be really helpful for your child or young person if you tell them what will be happening at school and what they will be allowed to do, rather than focusing on the things that they won't be able to do. Try to keep to routines as much as possible, including during the school holidays. For example, getting up and going to bed at roughly the same time each day. Visit the school site, talk about and/or practice the journey to school and back. Wash school uniform to soften it and make it smell right. Leave it hanging up where it can be seen, or encourage your child or young person to practice wearing it so that it becomes comfortable and familiar. Using school lunch boxes, pencil cases, school bags at home as well can be helpful. Walk around videos or photo sequences of any new environments narrated by a trusted adult or a child or both. Preparatory meetings with friends or teachers prior to returning to school is helpful in keeping in contact with any friends over the holidays. Encouraging communication is really important, helping your child to understand and communicate how he or she is feeling. Using a feelings thermometer or other visual chart to determine whether your child or young person is feeling happy, sad, calm, worried, or angry. Sensory differences. Many children and young people have difficulty processing everyday sensory information. Any of the senses can be either oversensitive or undersensitive, or both at different times, and both can have an impact on how a child or young person experiences school. A one-size-fits-all approach is not appropriate, as every child or young person's needs will be different. It can be really helpful to speak to your child or young person's school to help complete a sensory profile. This is important as a school environment can feel overwhelming and stressful, and can lead to a child or young person struggling to engage or experiencing meltdowns relating to sensory overload. There are specific strategies that can help with sensory differences, like providing a calm and quiet place, a suitable workspace, or wearing ear defenders. Your child or young person may need support from an occupational therapist to help identify and manage any sensory issues. It can be helpful to consider creating a self-soothe box to help your child or young person to focus on the here and now, and by serving as a distraction from the feelings that your child or young person may be experiencing. Self-soothe boxes can be a useful coping mechanism for anyone of any age and can be used in any situation. Again, inside those self-soothe boxes can be filled with anything that can help with grounding strategies, for example, favourite smells, fidget toys, photographs of happy memories, etc. There will be some reasonable adjustments that school can make to support children and young people with autism. Some examples might include staggering the start or the end of the school day, allowing the child or young person to come into the school building at a different time, encouraging the use of noise cancelling or noise reducing earphones and the chance to work with calming music. In secondary school, allowing pupils to leave classrooms early when changing lessons to avoid the crowds. Creating a safe place where the child or young person can feel calm, and developing a self-soothe box in school and allowing the use of a fiddle toy. Your child or young person might like the opportunity to discuss their feelings at the end of each school day. Timeout cards or a pass, which gives the child or young person permission to leave the room without question. To consider different arrangements for break and lunch times. Suggesting to school that they use your child or young person's interests to help them learn. Talking about their interests can help bring them into conversations and build positive relationships with staff. Support from the side rather than the face-to-face to reduce the pressure of direct eye contact. You could consider offering double desks or quiet corners for children and young people needing their own space, and or adapting the environment, for example using ventilation and blinds to reduce the glare onto faces and desks. Encouraging physical activity exercises or breaks to help alleviate stress, and allowing the pupil to stim. This is self-stimulating behaviour, for example rocking, spinning, or hand or finger flapping. Making reasonable adjustments such as these for autistic children and young people can mean that their sensory differences do not become difficulties. Communication with all school staff who come into contact with this child or young person is important, so that they can trust that everyone will be as consistent as possible.